Well, I planned this introduction, and most of you know me, so it's, and I apologize, I am sick, so I am going to hack my way through this. I will be clearing my throat often, and my wife in the back will be giving me dirty looks as I do it, because that's what I do in the mornings, and now especially since I'm sick, I'm really gonna do it. So I apologize in advance. Actually went on vacation last week, and we got back the day we got back, she was sick, and then she gave it to me. She says she didn't give it to me, but she gave it to me.
So it's the person who gave it to me's fault.
Right. Anyways, so yes, I'm Chad Heller. I work at Hummel Group. I've worked at Hummel Group for 20 years. I'm from Berlin. I graduated from Highland in '98. Seems like a very, very, very long time ago. I then went to Ohio State and I studied psychology. Started off with engineering and architecture, but the path led me to psychology for whatever reason. And after I graduated college in 2002, again, it's a long time ago, I came back to Holmes County and I promptly realized that I wanted to be a teacher. And I kind of knew all along I kind of wanted to be a teacher. So I actually went back to school to get another degree in teaching. And while I was doing that, I was substitute teaching at Highland and Berlin Elementary. And substitute teaching is a glorified babysitter. So it didn't really give me a great look at what teaching was like, but I still wanted to do it. The following summer, the guidance counselor at Highland that was my guidance counselor when I was in high school was still there, and he's dog. I don't know if you know Craig Hirschberger or not, but he came to me and said, "What are you doing, Chad?" I said, I'm going to be a teacher, because you don't want to be a teacher. He's like, "Hummel is hiring, go interview." And I'm like, I don't want to be in insurance. They don't want me. Why would I want to do that? So I went and interviewed, and I got a job. And I didn't really think that I was going to stick out too long. I was there for about 3-4 years, and the whole time I was like, I had one foot in, one foot out, trying to think, how I'm going to go back to be a teacher while I'm getting paid. So I was trying to do part-time. And then about year 5 or 6 or so, I had a client who had a very significant claim. A house burnt down, and it made me realize why I was where I was. And it brought value to where I was. And I realized that I wasn't just selling a piece of paper to someone and they go home and they're like, "Why do I have this insurance? Everybody hates insurance," right? So it made me realize where I had value, and I kind of ran with it then. And I kind of ditched everything else and said, "You know what, I'm going to focus on this, and this is what I'm going to do." And I've been doing it ever since. I've gone from being an agent to being a manager. Now I am overseeing operations for 4 different departments in all of our locations. So I've come a long way, and now I feel like even more so now than when I was in an agent position, I feel like this is where I need to be as far as what I'm doing day to day. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I have 35 reports, which these monkeys we're going to get to. I have a lot of monkeys on my back, or I had a lot of monkeys, and when you have 35 reports, you have to know when to say no, and you have to know when to say yes, and I did not do a great job at that. And today I'm going to talk about it a little bit, not because I'm really good at it, it's because I'm still working at it, and it's something that I continue to kind of struggle with. But I will say in the last year, I sort of drew up a plan to provide less reports for me and bring in some more middle management between me and the reports. So now I have gone from 35 to about 6, which is great, but I'm still learning how to manage that workload. So it's a little bit about me. Today's talk, this is not my information. I got this from Harvard Business Review in 1974. They wrote this. And then Stephen Covey did a commentary on it. I'm not sure when, but he had a little bit of, so a lot of this is not my information. So I'll try to make it as enjoyable as possible. But my disclaimer also is this is sort of geared towards managers, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to everybody else. I mean, I'm sure if you're not a manager, you've had people come to you and say, "Hey, I got this problem." And you're like, "Okay, you know what? I can help you with that." And in that instance, that monkey that was on their back just jumped on your back. And I'm sure if you've been in that situation, you've also felt overwhelmed because you're like, why did I just do that? I have all these other monkeys I got to deal with. Why did I take on their monkey? So it isn't, I probably will use subordinates sometimes. And it doesn't necessarily mean subordinates. It could be your colleagues. It could be your anybody that you work with. I would like to start with a riddle this morning. And I know there's a huge crowd in here, so I'm sure everyone will have a little bit of a, come on in. Good morning. You're just in time for the riddle. Hopefully you're really good at riddles. All right. What do you possess that is always moving? You can't touch it, you can't taste it, you can't stop it, and each second that goes by, it becomes more valuable. If you're an attorney, you should know this one.
This pressure.
My time.
Time. Time is our currency. And if you're an attorney, time really is your currency. And I thought about bringing in some sort of lawyer joke in here, but I thought it wasn't appropriate, but it's okay. They say to have a good balance in your life, you need to have 1/3 of your day or your life for work, 1/3 for sleep, and then 1/3 for you. So obviously that's a really good balance. And if you look at your life, do you think you have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3? Probably not. Probably is, if you're off balance, it's probably you're heavily weighted at work and then low weighted on your sleep and your personal time. Or if you're really lazy, maybe you have a lot of sleep and you time and not enough work. So try to have that 1/3, 1/3. Today, though, we want to specifically talk about that work time that you have. Within your work day, there are 3 kinds of time management. First one is boss-imposed time. Second one is system-imposed time. And the third one is self-imposed time. So first one, boss-imposed time. These are activities the boss requires, right? So boss comes to you, says, I need that TPS report in my office by Friday morning. That's boss time. If you don't do that, there could be a penalty, depending on what kind of boss you have, right? Pretty stiff penalty. Second one, the system-imposed time. This kind of time is to accommodate administrative type stuff that you do day to day. So taking phone calls, meetings, stuff like that, right? And then the third one is self-imposed time. This is time that you spent on things you decide to do at work. This is the area where you want to be. You really want to guard this time with all that you can. It is free from penalty. So you don't get it done, doesn't matter, right? So when people bring issues to you, this is the time that is most vulnerable to be sacrificed. Within the self-imposed time, too, there are 2 different components to self-imposed time. There's discretionary time, and there's staff-imposed time. So when staff comes to you with their problems, they're not coming to you, and you're not taking away from your boss-imposed time, so you got to do that. The system-imposed time, you're not taking away from that because you also have to do that too. Where you're going to take away from the staff-imposed time is where they come to you, they suck that time away from you, and the discretionary time is where you are going to sacrifice. The discretionary time is part of that self-imposed time in which you feel truly rewarded in your work. So think about what you do day to day that you feel really rewarded. Is it your boss-imposed time? Is it the system-imposed time? Or is it the time that you're doing something that you really enjoy doing on your own and you don't have a lot of guardrails in there? So this discretionary time, though, should be guarded very carefully. This is where we want to focus today, is this discretionary time, that you are not sacrificing that for your staff or for your colleagues. And so the staff-imposed time is time that it includes spending feeding, petting, caring for other people's monkeys. And this is where the monkeys come in. And Chris said I was not allowed to bring real monkeys in for liability issues. So most people, if you think about it, most people, if you think about what you do daily, I would guess that you'd probably say that you spend more time than you actually think on other people's issues or their monkeys. I would say that I am definitely guilty of it. So let's describe what these monkeys are before we go any further, because it's not a problem, it's not a question, it's not a complaint, it's not a challenge. It is the next move to resolve those things. So someone comes to you and has a problem, that is not them giving you a monkey. But you saying, you know what, I'll help you with that. That's where the monkey jumps. So there's two facts that you should probably know about your colleagues, and I'm sure they're all wonderful people. I know the people I work with are wonderful, but they will try to steal your time because they don't value your time like you value your time. So guard your time. And then second, there are people that overwhelm themselves and they want relief from all that work. We're going to call them time vampires. They try to suck your time away from you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play a little game. Do you want to be do you want to volunteer?
Sure.
You have to be really good at acting. I have a line you have to say. I'll even prompt you, and I'll give you a monkey. Which monkey would you like? This one. This one's pretty cute. Okay. Okay. So in this game, we are going to play Where is the Monkey? Who has the monkey? So you're the time vampire. I'm the boss, or I'm a colleague. So this is what I need you to say.
We have a problem.
Yep.
We have a problem.
And then yada, 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 vomit, 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 all over you, saying all these problems. And I say, as a boss, that I care for her. I don't want her to fail. I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Let me think about that, and I'll get back to you. In that instance, where's the monkey?
You.
It jumped on me as soon as I said, I'll take care of it. I'll get back to you, right? Okay. Example 2. You just have to say the same thing over and over.
Okay. We have a problem.
Again, yada, 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 vomit, 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 all over you about all the problems. And I say, you know what, send me an email and I'll look it over and I'll get back with you. Where is the monkey here? It's still there because she hasn't sent an email. But as soon as that email is sent, it's back on me. And here I am having to reply back to her to say, well, this is what we need to do. All right, one last one. Go ahead.
We have a problem.
You're really getting good at this. All right. In this, I apologize. I am struggling this morning. All right. Just let me know how I can help. So, again, who has a monkey in this situation?
I do. Trust me.
Until she tells
It
you.
is straddling the middle, and it is ready to jump on me at any minute. And so I have all these other monkeys that I have to tend to, and now she's trying to give me her monkey. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Get this guy in here. He's pretty cute. All right, so what's some takeaways from this? What are ways in which we can manage keeping monkeys from jumping from someone else onto our back? The first thing is describe the monkey. Like, what is the next move? So whoever has the next move has the monkey, right? So in this, if she comes to me and says, I have a problem, instead of me saying, okay, yeah, give that problem to me and I will give you a solution and I'll give it back to you. So that I'm taking the monkey. In this situation, I'm going to say, you know what? Why don't you sleep on it and then come back tomorrow with a solution? I'm not partaking. I am just caring. I will watch over her to make sure she's going to take care of that monkey. But at no time am I getting that monkey, right? If she's not the right owner, we want to assign the owner. So who should be the owner of this monkey? If, let's say, this is a gorilla monkey, and she only tends to small monkeys. So we're talking about pay grades, right? So are you working within your pay grade? If you've got an HR problem and you don't work in HR, you probably shouldn't be dealing with that monkey, right? So let's try to find an owner for that monkey if you can't take it. And you can even say, at no time during this thing will I take your monkey. We are going to find someone to take that monkey. The third thing is take out insurance. And I'm going to bring insurance into it because it's what I do, right? The discussion should not end until the monkey has been insured. So, in other words, give enough authority to the other person that is consistent with the welfare of the monkey. So give them authority to think it through and bring it back to you, knowing that big monkeys need different care than small monkeys, and then give full authority to them to take the next steps they choose to take care of that monkey. And then trust them to take care of that monkey. That's a big step for someone in our position, that we are not taking the monkey. We have to trust them to take it. So we cannot have leaders, to sort of sum this all up a little bit, we cannot have leaders that are preoccupied with other people's monkeys. I have a slew, what do they call them, menagerie of monkeys or whatever. I have enough of my monkeys of my own. I don't need other people's monkeys. So I don't think Hummel wants me, if they're paying me to take care of gorillas, I don't think they want me to take care of whatever kind of monkeys these tiny little guys are. Little spider monkeys or whatever they call them. So, and vice versa, if I have staff that are dealing with, gorillas, and that's mine, I probably should take that. I should probably take that. So, leaders that are eager to take other people's monkeys are attributed to wanting to have control. And that is a big one, I think, that we have to realize too as leaders, is making sure that we release this. Trusting our people to take care of their monkeys and letting them do it. And not being afraid that they're going to fail. Let them fail. If they want to fail, not if they want to fail, but if they're going to fail, we can help them. But we have to let them, we hired them for a reason, let them take care of the monkeys. And part of that is also with leaders, the psychology a little bit about that is too, that makes us feel a little more vulnerable by letting other people deal with things that we could easily take care of. And it might also make us feel a little bit deficient, like, well, why, I could have done that. I could have way better than another person. So we have to learn to manage that properly. So, in conclusion, we need to honor our time. Devote your time to the right tasks. Like I said before, I've struggled in the last 5-ish, probably more than that, years, where I know Hummel's paying me in the bucket. This is my pay grade here. And I have been dabbling in the bucket over here and the bucket over here and not so much here, because I am trained to work with gorillas, but I've got little spider monkeys that I'm dealing with on a daily basis, and that is a different pay grade. And I am not saying there's anything wrong with that. We've got to have people who clean the toilets, answer the phones, do data processing, stuff like that. Like, those people are important. But we're not going to ask our toilet cleaners to write an insurance policy or to defend somebody in a courtroom, right? So the same respect, we got to honor our time, make sure that we are in the bucket that we need to be in. Time management is more than keeping a calendar and a to-do list. So time management is working smarter, not harder. I have to tell that to my staff a lot. There's a lot of them that want to go the extra mile, which is great. We want to make sure our clients are taken care of. But we can take care of the clients the same way with less time. So let's work smarter. And then for us, empowering our subordinates or our colleagues to actually make these decisions and take care of their own monkeys and not micromanaging how they're taking care of monkeys. And this really depends on a trusting relationship between the manager and the subordinates. So making sure that you have trust. So there are some subordinates you probably don't trust. And if that's the case, you need to weigh what is the next option there. Do we need to hire somebody that actually has the capability of doing these things? And then we ourselves also have to develop an inner security within ourselves to say, you know what? Let them do what they can do. We will check in on them. And that is part of this too, is you're not walking away saying, that's your monkey, deuces, I'm out. You say, I give you the power to take care of the monkey or find someone to take care of the monkey. And then I'm going to come in as a supervisor and I'm going to say, hey, how's it going? How's that monkey doing? Just checking in on it. I don't want it, but how's it going? So I can help you with it. And if at some point I have to step in, I have to step in. So, in conclusion, we must delegate effectively so that we stop the cycle of dealing with other people's monkeys and so that you can spend more time on your monkeys or your gorillas. Any questions?
I do.
Mr. White.
So you talked about trust between the manager and the employee, and how important though in that you can trust somebody, but the clarity of instruction, the clarity of tasks, the clarity of job responsibility, is how important is that? Because for some of us it's like, hey, go do this, and it's really hard to get down into the weeds the first time or even the second time.
Yeah.
And talk about clarity. So how does that play into that?
Well, I will say from my point of view, what we try to do on the onset is always, we want to train people to do their job, right? And we can't train them for every situation. But I think what I have learned, I'm still learning. It's not perfect, but I feel like what I've learned is, because what I did this past, I was going to draw something else, it doesn't matter. Think of a hierarchy where before this past year, it was me, and then below me was 37 people. So it was super flat, right? Now I have this, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's just a hierarchy, right? Those 5, 6 people have never been in a leadership position, and I'm getting situations where they're like, what do I do? And I have said, give me that monkey, I'll take it. But I have also said, go, do it, give it a try. And for me, I think personally, sorry about that, I didn't mean to hit that. I learn better with experience, and I think that's where I'm at with them too. I'm like, okay, you know what? I have to learn to trust them. So that's part of me sort of letting go and jumping into the deep end. And then me pushing them off the deep end and letting them swim too and learning from experience. And the more they do that, and the more I do that, the easier it becomes for me. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's aside from like, hey, we're going to train on every possible scenario that this is going to happen. And we try to, but it doesn't work, right? We're always going to run into situations that are completely out of left field. And I just feel like what I've experienced in the last, this is February, right? In the last 2-3 months has been a lot of trial and error and letting them err, being okay with them erring.
So follow up on that. You talk about hierarchy, and it's really about responsibility. And you have ultimate responsibility for these 30-odd people, no matter where they are. How do you get past feeling responsible for everything that's happening and needing to be involved in that, and allowing them the freedom to do it and still being responsible for the outcome?
That's a tough one.
Good question.
It's a tough one because I see what's happening, and I'm actually, so what I did was I told each team that they are responsible This is different than just saying, hey, I've got a whole bunch of different managers and you're going to manage this amount of people. I said, you have a manager spot, but your manager spot is you have a focus. So think of a football team where you have a offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, running back coach, linebacker coach, offensive line coach, all that stuff. That's what I have built for our team. Is that I say, you are responsible for retention, you're responsible for client engagement, you're responsible for processes and procedures, you're responsible for training, whatever. Within those groups, I have given them, and I'm not saying this is perfect, again, we're 2 or 3 months into it, and I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. But I have said, you're going to be responsible for that team, and you're going to drive that, and I'm going to be a bystander, and I meet with them once a week, and I say, what are you working on? They tell me what I'm working on, they're working on, and if I need to make any course corrections, I kind of do it there without diving in. I'm like, all right, hey, I don't think that's actually the direction we want to go, let's go this way. Or we have an issue, this is a minor little thing, but we have an issue where one of the teams just doesn't engage with each other. I'm not sure if it's a subject matter or what it is, but I have a theory that we're doing meetings on Teams. It's a stupid little thing, right? We're meeting on Teams. And I said, why don't you meet in person? Like, just meet in person. Let's see what happens there, because I feel like what they're doing is, hey, when you're looking at a screen, it's so easy to disengage. Who cares? So those are the types of things, and I'm not sure I'm answering your question because I'm not sure I have an answer, but I feel like with hearing their feedback once a month or once a week, I can get a gauge of what they're doing, what they're working on, and then I have a set of meetings that are in a group setting that just we talk on our management team. Then I have a one-on-one for each one of them saying, what are you working on? What issues are you running into? How's staffing? All this stuff. And it has been challenging to hear them struggle with some things. And I've had, like I said, I've had issues where I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Why not? But then I've also said, I had an instance yesterday where I told him, I say, run this report, do this, do that, and then see how it goes. So it's a work in progress. That's probably a long answer and didn't really answer your question. Sounds like an attorney, don't I? Yes, sir.
So, well, maybe connected to his question is, in allowing this individual take care of their monkey, don't you also find that, how do you stop yourself from having to monitor how this person takes care of that monkey? Because then it seems to me that you're beginning to own the monkey eventually.
Right. So you're saying, me going, because I don't think the idea is that you don't monitor the monkey. I still think you go in, you check, say, how's the monkey doing?
Okay.
But at no time do you say, that monkey's going to jump on my back. And I think what you're asking, correct me if I'm wrong, is if you do that enough, at some point it's going to still jump on your back, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I think that probably is the case. I think there's probably situations where if you have someone that maybe isn't capable of taking that monkey, and the more you check into it, and you're like, you're not taking care of this monkey. I think at that time, I don't think it's necessarily means that monkey's jumping on your back, but at that time you have to say, all right, you can't take care of this monkey. We're going to find somebody that can take care of the monkey. And then, again, I think you check in on it because you're supervising it. You want to make sure things are going okay. I don't think it's a complete, turn and walk away and say, good luck. Does that answer your question?
So it's like the president of the zoo isn't the zookeeper
Right.
for the monkeys.
Right.
But he's still responsible for those monkeys'
Right.
well-being.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you talked about giving your team the freedom to fail.
Yeah.
So how do you, when there's a situation where you see that they're gonna fail and they need to fail to learn from the experience, but you know that it'll have a negative impact on the customer?
That's a tough one.
That never happens, Mark.
No, you know what? I will say if anything, if Hummel were here and they were talking about me, I would hope that one of the things that they would say about me is that I am not afraid to fail. Like, I have tried things and I know that I can course correct. I know that if I fail and it's miserable failure, that tomorrow's another day and I'll fix it. And I don't know if that's the engineer, that 1 year engineering thing that I took, or architecture, where I love to tear something down and rebuild it. And if it's not working, I love to fix it. So it actually is a challenge for me when I see something failing. I'm like, all right, here we go, let's do this. I'm probably wired a little differently than some people, because I know there's a lot of people that are very scared of failure. I think you have to kind of weigh how big of a failure is this going to be? Is this going to be something that's going to be like, is this going to really ruin the margins? Or is this something that, you know what, we can come back to pretty quickly and it's okay, we'll figure it out. If it's one of those big things, I think at that point you're going to have to, not necessarily take the monkey, but you're going to have to help manage that monkey a little better. At least, and I know that means that you are not empowering your subordinates to fail, but if it is a giant failure and it's going to ruin the business, I think you have to, right? You have to. A small failure, I hate to say it, but I think you almost have to let them fail.
Because you know if you take the monkey now,
You're right.
next week you're gonna take
Right.
it again.
Right. And you know, and if you do it this time, just like you said, you do it this time, the next time they know they're going to come to you and say, I can't handle it. Here's your monkey. Here, take it. They're not going to trust themselves because you don't trust them. So
It's, Mark, and I feel the same thing that you just said. You know, in law, we make a mistake, it's not a great thing. Some of them are fairly significant that it could be harmful to somebody. But on the flip side, I've always told my team, I will never fire you for making a mistake. I will fire you for covering one up. And,
Yeah.
you know, in sometimes in those mistakes, especially client-facing ones, I have found that we develop the strongest client relationships by actually owning those. And so the end of it isn't the mistake or the failure that caused harm. The end of it is the ownership and the taking control of that and following through, because I'll be honest with you, as an owner, I've made mistakes. And nobody gets to point it out because there's nobody pointing at me saying, but I would just follow through and I would own it and I would fix it and I'd do whatever. We have to, at some point in time, let our people also have to own that mistake with the client and follow it through and hopefully build great relationships out of that.
I agree with you. That is one thing that I've told my team too. Like, if you make a mistake, this is our opportunity to shine. Hate to say it, to be like, let's make mistakes to make, you know, our opportunity to shine. But like, we've had instances where we've dropped the ball, and if you've dropped the ball in insurance, you've got somebody that is out thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, and as much as that sucks for the business, it also can help. We had a situation actually where and I'll try not to get too insurance-y for you. We had a structure that burnt down, and it was a garage, and they were running a business out of the garage. And if you know anything about homeowners insurance, you can't run a business out of a garage without having business insurance on that garage. Your home insurance won't cover that. Well, we had business coverage, just not on the garage itself. So between our commercial team and our personal lines team, nobody communicated, hey, there's a garage there that's not covered. The other part where we dropped the ball was every time there's a fire, we're out on the scene. We want to be there. We want to be talking to them. We want to let them know these are the next steps. 2 weeks. Claim was turned in, burnt down. I didn't know about it. Nobody really knew about it except for our claims team. No one alerted us. I'm like, oh my goodness. So all of a sudden we get this report. We got this insured who is irate. I'm like, what's going on? Tells the story. Well, this company's going to deny the claim because it's a commercial building. I'm like, what? And so we go to commercial. Commercial's like, yeah, it's a commercial building. You're supposed to be covering it. Or it's just an out structure. I'm like, no, it's not. So we go out. We thought we were going to get reamed up and down. We went out to the property, met with them, and said, that's our fault. This is completely our fault. We will take care of everything. It ended up being that we had a very loyal customer after the fact because we fixed it. And I don't like those situations, but in those situations, there is a way to fix it. And I think that has a happy ending. It doesn't always have a happy ending like that, but that's tough. That's really tough.
You got any else questions for Chad?
Do you think this is transferable to other areas of our lives? Outside of the four walls of the building?
No, I'm only talking about business here. This is
So at home, you don't want to let other people fail?
I'm done with the conversation.
I feel like you're being railroaded here.
Well, I mean, at home, I think you could say, I don't want that monkey. I suppose raising kids, you could also do the same thing, because you know how many kids are like, oh, Dad, I want to help me do this. I'm like, no, you do it. You fail on it. You need to learn how to fail at this. I think that's even more applicable at home with your kids. So maybe not with your wife so much. If she asks you to do something, you probably should do it. I'll take that monkey. Give me the monkey.
Well, thanks, Chad. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
And guys, if you want to follow up with Chad, he is Helm Group. You can grab his email, follow up with Chad. Talked at GapCon, and this is the second time you've been here to talk to Mastermind, right?
No, it's the first time.
Just the
Did the podcast.
And so Chad's got a lot of experience from leading large groups, and so he's always been very open to sharing with us from that perspective. So appreciate it, Chad.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, have
Very
a
good.
great Wednesday.